In this video, I thought I'd talk about the reverse roundhouse kick in Taekwondo. This came up in the comments section at one point where someone was asking whether or not this is a blind kick or whether you should be able to see the target before you strike. And the answer is that this is one of the few kicks in Taekwondo that is actually a blind kick, meaning that you do not see the target prior to striking them, at least once you've begun your rotation. So I should correct myself there. You spot the target before you begin your rotation. So if I'm going to do a reverse roundhouse kick, I've already spotted the target. So I can see you and I can see where you are and how far away you are from me. And for anybody that has practiced Taekwondo for any length of time, once you have learned a particular technique, that's all you need. Once I can see the target and once I can range you and see how far away you are, how high the target is and how far away it is, once I've spotted it, at that point I can turn and I can fire the kick and I can hit that target. And I can hit that target every time. Now, if somebody were to move in between the point where I start my rotation and throw that kick, then they're gone, at that point. That's how you counter somebody that is throwing a reverse roundhouse kick, is you know that there's a moment in time where they have to take their eyes off you to pivot and do the reverse roundhouse kick. And if you happen to move at that exact moment in time and get out of the way, then you're simply not going to be there when I come around to finish the kick. That's all there is to it. And you can counter me and plan a counterattack for that. So obviously a reverse roundhouse kick, if you're just in a stationary position and you're trying to hit somebody with a reverse roundhouse kick right from here and just rotate and come around and throw that reverse roundhouse, they have quite a bit of time to see you twisting and get out of the way, move, whatever they have to do, block. They have an opportunity to see it coming, because you can throw a reverse roundhouse kick pretty quickly and it's still a surprisingly fast kick, but it's tipped off. You can see the rotation, you know what's coming, and you have an opportunity to avoid it. So generally, if you're going to use a reverse roundhouse kick in sparring or in a fight, you want to set it up with something else first. So maybe I come in with, say, a front snap kick first, and then I'm halfway into my rotation, and then I come around and pivot and throw the reverse roundhouse kick. So if you use it as the second or the third kick in a combination of kicks or techniques, then you can shorten up that distance that you have to rotate, and the kick becomes far more dangerous and far more difficult to avoid. But the point is, when I'm turning and I come around, I can't look far enough over my shoulder to be able to see my opponent. By the time I come here, first and foremost, everything is pretty much a blur as you're rotating, but as I come around to this point here, my leg is already extended and kicking through the target. Like, it's already too late at that point. So I basically pick you up at the moment that my leg is coming through the target. That is when I see the target, is as my leg is already going through it. So for schools that teach students to stop their reverse roundhouse kick short and drop them down and practice them that way in the patterns, that is incorrect. When you're doing a reverse roundhouse kick, there's no advantage to stopping it short and bringing your foot down. Rotating to here and then dropping your foot. If your opponent is going to move, they're going to move. And so if you try to slow your reverse roundhouse kick and bring it down, you're giving them even more time to counter you. So once you're committed to a reverse roundhouse kick, you're committed to it. And you see it all the way through from beginning to end. If your opponent is there, they're going to get knocked out if they get hit with that kick. That is a knockout kick in Taekwondo. If your opponent moves in that time and you come around and there's nobody there, you use your momentum to move into another technique and try to close any gaps as quickly as possible. So, I mean, if in that period of time where you do your reverse roundhouse kick and you come around and you kick and your opponent is now over here, they've gotten behind you, then you want to try and correct for that as quickly as you can. But that is the weakness of a reverse roundhouse kick. It's very much an all or nothing kick. If you can land a kick like that, you can knock a person out with that very easily. It's a very powerful kick. But it usually has to be set up with another technique first. You don't typically want to just try it on its own because it is a 360-degree rotation and that takes time. It's slower than, say, a front kick or just a regular roundhouse kick. And it'll always be slower than those basic kicks. So something to keep in mind, reverse roundhouse kick, don't try to see the target before you hit the target. Spot the target prior to throwing the kick. So spot the target before you begin your rotation and then begin the kick. And if you ask any black belt student, they will tell you, you show me a target and I can close my eyes, turn around and hit it every single time. I only need to see it once and I only need to see it for a fraction of a second. So if I can see that, right now I'm looking at the camera, if I can see where the camera is and I can range it, then right away, bang, I can come around and hit it. If it's still there, I will hit it when I come around. So that is the reverse roundhouse kick in Taekwondo. Till next time.